The Powers Project.
Hey guys, how's it going today?
What's up?
It's good to see you guys again. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I have Nelson here with me today, and Ronnie, which has been on one of my podcasts before when we were talking about Jeet Kune Do and
Right.
Bruce Lee.
Master.
Yeah, the master, exactly. Not fucking Chuck Norris, like Chai keeps fucking talking about. Fuck Chuck Norris.
I think it was
Chai
0-7 before he won his first fight, if I'm not mistaken.
Chai knows what's up.
Yeah, he knows what's up, but he keeps posting all this damn Chuck Norris, and I keep going to go, Chuck Norris is hiding in his fucking bunker because he's afraid of gay people. So fuck off, shut up. So, the reason why I wanted us to gather together today is because you two, out of everyone I know, are probably the most politically, I hate using this word, but woke people I know.
Dangerous word.
It's overused though.
Yeah, it is. It's overused. But it's amazing to me, and I'm sure it is to you as you talk to people, how oblivious they are to what's going on in our political system. To see these people who are nothing more than sheep just follow the herd, and when you go, hey, that's not what's going on.
Yeah.
You guys are going to slaughter like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about.
Right,
That's what the TV told him though.
Right,
They gotta
exactly. So, and I'm sure that, you probably experience the frustration I have as well, which is when you're talking to them and you explain it to them and they just, like they get this blank look on their face and they don't know how to respond. They know you're telling the truth,
Right.
but they don't want to admit to it. And we have a friend, Tim, who's one of those people because he just does. I don't know if it's because he sees himself and I love Tim. I know you guys love Tim. He's a very honorable person, but I think because of that, he doesn't want to believe that he could be part of a party that is corrupt.
Yeah.
And so he makes excuses for them.
Right.
And I think that's what happens to everyone, whether you're on the left or the right. You think that you have the moral superiority high ground, and so you're willing to ignore the bullshit that they're all pulling. And that's the thing I love about you two is like you're not. You see the bullshit on both sides, and you call it out on both sides.
Right.
And I think that's what we need.
Yeah. I mean, you got to look with your heart. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not about what you're seeing on TV, what you're listening to on TV, on radio, whatever that may be. But it's about in here, your heart. You know what I mean? It's just, it doesn't make any sense that they just can't understand or refuse to understand that both parties are corrupt. They're not working for you. They're working for the big dollar. They want that money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as people, it's just common sense for me to look within my heart instead of just listen to what they got to say or listen to the media, listen to the radio, because they all have an agenda. One protects one party, the Republicans. The other one protects the Democrat Party. You know?
They're like sports teams.
Yeah, it's exactly
So
what
people
it
are
is.
going to be loyal to that team no matter
Right.
what.
Exactly.
Got
And
a horrible quarterback, but who cares?
well, it's just like it's like when the Patriots, when Tom Brady and the inflating the or deflating the ball and everything.
Right.
It's like they're Patriots fans, and they're just going to go bullshit. Yeah, they're going to. It doesn't matter whether he did or not to them because they're going to deny it,
Right.
and that's what you're absolutely right. That's what our politics have become, and that's dangerous because this isn't about fucking sports.
Yeah.
This is about how this country is run.
Right.
The problem is there's only two teams. It's like the Globetrotters
Right,
and
exactly.
the Generals, right?
And the Generals.
You're playing the same two guys over and over again, flip-flopping, and nothing's getting done.
Oh, it's your turn. You win this time.
We get to play the Harlem Globetrotters today.
Yeah.
That's how it feels like, right? Like the Democratic president went 8 years, and then quickly after 8 years, then it's Republicans' turn.
They take
Right.
turns,
Right?
yeah.
They're taking turns.
And undoing what the last guy did. So
Right.
you never make progress.
You never make
No,
progress.
you're absolutely right. And the thing is people still get it wrong. The Democrats still get it wrong as to
All the time.
why fucking Trump won. They don't understand why he won, no more than the Republicans understood why Obama won. It's like, look, the people have been telling you we want change.
Right.
Well, the Republicans didn't listen back in 2008, and so fucking McCain got his ass whooped.
Right.
Okay, Obama was in.
Yeah.
When Trump beat the best the fucking best the Republicans had to offer. That should have been a fucking clue right there that he ran through these fuckers, because people are like, we don't care who it is. Right. We want something different. We don't want the same old bullshit that's been going on. Well, the Democrats ended up bullshitting and shoving Hillary down our throats by screwing Bernie out of the and then when people go, oh, he wasn't screwed, I'm going, you're a dumbass.
They won't admit it.
Well, they won't, even though there's evidence, even though there are fucking emails that prove it. Prove it.
Fuck the emails. They don't even want to read it.
No, they don't. They don't even want to believe they exist. You know. And then when he got screwed over this second time, I go, please. They go, how did he get screwed? I go, when? Right. Tell me when. The second, third, and fourth place guy drops out for the fifth place guy. When has that ever happened?
Never.
Ever. Never. So
well, they're all on the same team.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. But they're not. And so you know, one of the things I said is like, let's burn this motherfucker down. I mean, I'm willing to, because you know what? This is how bad the DNC, the Democrats, the corporate Democrats, don't want a progressive in office, because they're willing to let Trump win. They're willing to let him win, then to make sure if they have to make sure a progressive is not in power. Correct. Because they know you get a progressive in power, you have somebody who's willing to get money out of politics, and there goes their money and there goes their power, and neither the Republicans nor the Democrats want that to happen. And that's why we see this. That's what, you know, if Biden, you know, I'll say this just like I did when Hillary ran. You really wanted to win, you should have made Sanders your running mate, but you didn't. No. You know, Hillary's like, fuck you, we don't need you.
What did she choose? What's that guy's name? I can't even remember his fucking name.
Yeah, the Virginia governor.
Some guy we never even heard of.
Right, but you know,
she didn't choose another minority. She didn't choose another black male, or Spanish male, whatever, or a female.
Right.
She chose some guy we don't even know the fuck we know. I never even heard of the guy until she brought him on stage. Like,
but she, you know, and the thing is like, again, it was a spit in the face of the progressives and those who supported Sanders.
Yeah. And of course, who did they blame? The voters. Mm-hmm. They blamed us.
At the same time, the Progressive Party, they won't stand away. You know, they won't stand on their own. They kind of like hang in there with the Democrats, hoping to win the Democratic nominee when they should be a separate thing.
Okay, so all right, so let me bring up a point then. All right, so I agree with you, and that's why I said, is this country ready for a third party? Because we have a movement now, and if we stick with the Democratic Party, and let's just say Biden wins, what do you think is going to happen to the progressive movement? It's going to get squashed. I mean, we'll still have little victories here and there, like the libertarians had, and those. But as far as having any real power anymore, it's gone.
It's going to be tough.
So Nelson listened to James McClennis, who I had on last week, and he brought up a brilliant idea, because I was saying, look, if we start a third party, the Democrats are going to fucking blame us regardless, because that was the other thing. It's like, they're like, well, Sanders shouldn't have been a Democrat. He should have went to a third party. And it's like, you're right. Maybe we'll do that. So that way, when we take the fucking votes for you, then you can still blame us because we took fucking votes away from you. So it doesn't matter. We're not going to win. So I don't give a fuck about, trying to appease these people who are blind and don't see that how the game is played, that these corporate Democrats they cater to their big fucking donors. They don't give a shit about us.
But they're assuming that those votes would have gone their way
had
that guy not been there. Like, there's no guarantee. They voted for that guy because they wanted that guy.
Right.
It's, I don't know. It's
well, and
frustrating.
And again, I think that Trump won simply because people want more change. Look, when you get change, you don't want to go backwards, huh?
I think he won as a joke. I don't think the Republicans ever thought he'd make it.
I don't think so either.
It was just their FU to
to
the right.
The thing is, it's like, I know there were enough people who did not want Hillary, though. There were enough people who said, we hate her, and didn't stand for her. All right, so you guys talk about that. I'm going to fix this real quick. So now you know that I don't edit this shit because you can hear the. Oh, it stopped. Okay, never mind.
Hey, I was gonna say I don't want to hear that Russian bullshit, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. It does. The argument of that the Russians helped him win doesn't make any sense to me. So those motherfuckers came in my house and made me vote for Trump.
Right.
They changed my mind and made me vote for Trump.
Right.
It makes. I don't understand the argument.
So right, exactly. So let's just say there were Russian hackers out there who were on Facebook. Yeah. If you're a dumb motherfucker who's getting your news from Facebook, that's on you.
Yeah. You just described the majority of the country, though.
The argument makes no fucking sense whatsoever. That the Russians somehow manipulated the minds of a certain big percentage of Americans to vote for fucking Trump.
Well,
now,
I think the angle they're saying is that they hacked the machines.
There's no proof of that whatsoever.
Of course, right. But his wife's Russian, so they must have done it.
Everything's blamed on the Russians nowadays. Oh, fuck the Middle East and ISIS. Let's all start blaming Russia from now on.
Right,
well,
yeah.
they say Trump's the new Reagan, so, all right?
Yeah.
We had Gorbachev back then.
Yeah. But I just don't get that argument. To me, it's just a stupid-ass argument.
It is a stupid-ass argument.
No, if you really think about it.
I live in Brevard County, and it's
I'm sorry.
99% Republican. I can tell you that those people went to the polls and voted for Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I go to Mission Barbecue. I guess I could say that. I'm not plugging them, but I love that place. But they're all fucking Trump supporters in there, and half of them are in there not wearing their mask. And I sit there, and I was like, "You idiots!" Seriously.
I think there's two different types of Trump supporters. There's the one who are fucking completely racist,
right? Yeah,
vulgar. But then you got some who did believe what he said.
Yeah,
But
don't you don't you get upset with people when you go, how the fuck did you get to this age and you're so naive that you believe that bullshit? Like, have you never been around someone who bullshits before? Because I've been around a lot of bullshitters in my life.
I mean, I'm not a Trump guy, but I get it. Like,
I get it too.
He's
honestly.
Blatantly honest. He's an asshole. Everybody knows it.
Yeah, I don't know if you can call it honest. He's blatant, but I don't.
He's blatant, but he ain't blatant.
When he's bullshitting you, know he's bullshitting.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, he knows he's bullshitting. You know he's bullshitting. He doesn't care. He's like, I don't care if you know I'm bullshitting.
But I think what he did was prove that you don't need a politician to run the country.
Right.
Whether you think he's doing a great job or not, he's not doing any worse than.
Well, and that's the thing.
Else.
It's like, let's be honest. There's been some good things that Trump has done.
Good point.
Yes. But there's, of course, there's shitty things that Trump has done. A lot of shitty things, actually. But, that's just, that could be said about every fucking president we've had. And, and yet the Democrats, their whole mantra is vote for blue no matter who, because Donald Trump is evil. It's like, he's not bad, he's not a horrible president, he's evil. And it's like, that's the best you got to run on? That's the reason you want me to vote for Biden, is because Donald Trump is evil?
Evil, Russian puppet, racist.
Right. It's like, that's bullshit.
So going back to Tim, last election, I remember a conversation. I voted for Gary Johnson. I'm a third party advocate, so he got my vote last election. I was talking with Tim about it, and he was like, no, he believed why I was voting that way, but to him it was, hey, let's prevent the other guy first. Let's go left, and we'll deal with that other stuff later. And I never got it. I'm like, no.
Well, I can sort of understand that, because I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't want Trump to win again.
Right.
And I think Biden would be an easier fight than Trump, because Trump don't give a shit. I'm like, I'll hit this red button tomorrow.
He would, yeah.
And I'm going to do it. I'm going to send missiles to whoever the fuck I want to.
You're fired.
He does whatever he wants. That goes back to, I always think about Obama, right? Oh, he couldn't do this. Oh, he couldn't do that. They were, they took the seats and they made every excuse for that man in the book. That motherfucker didn't do nothing for 8 years.
Yeah.
All right? He catered to both parties.
Okay, so so let's go back to that. When he first came into office, I don't know that he was like that. I want to believe that he truly thought, I can go in there and make a difference. And when they had both the Senate and the House, the first 2 years that he was in office, and those fucking corporate goddamn Democrats shut him down even, How the fuck do you have the House, the Senate, and the executive branch and not get shit passed?
Yeah.
Because the Democrats are in the pockets of the corporations that finance their asses. That's how. And if you fucking Democrats don't wake the fuck up and keep thinking that the people that you put in the office they're fighting for you and don't realize they don't give a shit about you. All they're doing is throwing a fucking bone and eating the meat off of it first. And I don't get how people don't see this.
Well, they want to believe that guy's got their best interest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
they want to, but but here's the thing. Ronnie said it earlier. It's about actions. I don't want to hear your shit anymore.
Right.
I don't care what you got to say. Right. I want to see what you do. So here's the other trick that they pull, and I had this discussion with, and again, these are intelligent people. One of them's even a fucking doctor. So, so that the guy's got some brains in his head. But he's like, he goes, well, that's kind of a fucked up way to look at it if you think that everyone's corrupt. And I go, if they're not willing to get rid of money in politics, they are. They're in there for the fucking wrong reason. He goes, well, we had so-and-so, and they tried to pass the bill that, for this, and I don't remember what the discussion was about. But I go, no, let me explain to you how this fucking works. If you run on the fact that, hey, you know what? Gays aren't allowed. They're not part of the protected minority yet, so they can be fired for being gay. They could, if people don't want to rent to them, they don't have to. That kind of shit. I'm going to get that passed, but you have major corporations who don't want that passed because they want to be able to hire and fire whoever the fuck they want. Yeah. Okay, so but you run on that promise. So what you do is you put in a bill that is attached to some bullshit bill that is never going to get passed, like, veterans should be defunded or some bullshit like that. You attach it to that bill knowing it's never going to pass, and you go, oh, I tried, and it's like bullshit, and people keep falling for the same fucking bullshit tricks, and it's like, when the fuck are you going to wake up? This is probably the most I've said fuck in a podcast yet,
but it goes beyond that too, because those same corporations, they're funding the campaign to begin with.
True.
So it's like, hey, I'm gonna give you this loan here, and then when you get in, you're gonna pass this bill for me.
Right.
So once that guy gets in there, he's still paying favors for who knows how long.
Yeah, he has to owe them favors. Yeah.
Exactly. So
that's when Obama became president, most of his administration were from banks.
Right.
What's that? I forgot what the big banks were called that he had. That they came from those bank companies and
probably
started
Goldman
working.
Sachs,
Goldman Sachs, yes, Goldman Sachs and stuff like that. His administration was full of corporate bankers and this and that. They weren't like regular fucking people, like teachers and construction workers and stuff like that.
So the question comes: how can we ever expect these fucking politicians to do our bidding when they're getting paid?
Challenge them, like what they're doing now, what the progressives are doing now. Challenge them.
Right. So that's why the progressive movement is the most important movement that's gone on in our generation, in our lifetime.
Right.
And it again, it's frustrating when people don't wake up. And you notice how everyone's like, oh, socialism. And first off, and it's not social. But do you see how everybody's crying for their fucking stimulus check now, and how and the people who got laid off from work that they don't have health care anymore, all of a sudden now they think they should have health. What happened? I thought you were a true blue capitalist and fuck socialism. Right. Now all of a sudden you're there with your hand out because it pertains to you.
Exactly.
So you get the fuck what you deserve,
It doesn't. It's not a problem until it gets to your doorstep.
Right. Exactly. And so,
well, we need. I like what the progressives are doing now. They're challenging. They're going for it. There's that one lady won in St. Louis. She tried for the second time and she won.
Right.
She beat that guy. Been there for like 50, 60 years or something. And coming we can beat these people. Us regular people. I think people are starting to wake up a little bit and say, hey, why the fuck are we voting for the same guy over and over again? He's been there for 60 years. Why are we doing this? So a new person comes and if they could talk that game, they can beat these people. We can beat these people. Teachers can beat these people. I can beat these people. If I really wanted to, I know for a fact.
I'll vote for you.
I know, but Kurt, you can do it too.
Yeah,
you can do it.
I can't do it. I got too many skeletons in my closet. You open that door a little bit and it'll come down and just crush you.
So, what you guys are talking about is people actually going to the polls, which doesn't really happen. And you're talking about at the local level to get somebody like an AOC, for example.
Right.
That's a local level. She's in her, little area. She's got, a huge audience right now. But the thing is, if you think about local politics, you never see them on TV. There's no debate. You drive by and there's a red or a blue sign with some guy's name. Everybody has the same exact sign with their name on it. And it's either red or blue. So when people go to vote locally to change their local government, they're still picking a team. They don't even know what the guy looks like.
Right.
They don't know anything about him. Oh, John, he's got a blue sign. I'm voting for John.
Right.
No, you absolutely
I like
right.
the color blue, so I'm voting for whoever has the blue
they
sign.
just know,
When I vote, I'm like, I don't know who the fuck these people are.
You don't know who they are.
I've
Right.
never heard of them.
I
I take a wild guess.
So
It's
then
bad.
you go back, you fall back to, okay, well, I'm whatever.
I'm a
your party
Republican,
is.
and then they
Democrat.
vote right down the party line.
yeah.
All right, so let's analyze this for a second. So what did AOC do different to win, to overcome that? What did she do different?
She had the manpower.
Okay,
She
and
went
what?
out- they went
Right,
out-
exactly. There you go. So we know that if we want progressive to win, they have to do what the rest of the people aren't
Door to
willing
door.
to do. Door to door, knock on those fucking doors,
Yeah.
put the work in. Forget about these $1,500 plate fucking benefits that you have, to raise money.
Right.
Go door to door. Make sure these people know who the hell you are, and make them understand how important it is that they get their asses out and vote. That's how we win this. Okay.
Yeah.
So, go ahead and say something. I am going to shut that off so we don't keep having that while you guys talk.
Yeah. The other thing is, it's kind of far-fetched, but some way of reforming. You're talking about taking the money out of politics. You got to reform the whole thing, just the way anybody's elected, because people are buying elections.
Right.
The guys with the most money at the end of the day, they're the
Wins.
ones.
Yeah.
Whether it's Hillary or whoever.
But I think people are waking up on that too. Bloomberg tried to come into the race, right? What happened to him?
Yeah, and he's got money,
And
but
he got money. And
I think he came in
they told him,
late.
get that shit out of here.
I think it was a joke, kind of like Kanye West.
I think
he came in when he thought Bernie was gonna.
Well, no, I think the DNC went after him and said, "Hey, look, Biden's fucking losing his ass, and we need a backup because
Yes.
we can't let Bernie in. We can't let him win."
We
So,
can't let Bernie win.
but he never got any traction because everybody saw what the fuck they were doing.
Right.
So I don't think it was a joke. I think the DNC was looking, and that's why they ended up pulling this bullshit, and Obama
Right.
ended up pulling this bullshit of getting Buttigieg and the rest of them to drop out, so that Biden could take this thing.
Right.
And for you
And
people who
people
don't
don't believe it.
right, and for you people who don't think that promises were made to these people, I got news for you. Wait,
Jobs.
if Biden wins, watch and see where the fuck Buttigieg goes, and they'll sit there and go, "Oh well, he deserves it." No, he doesn't. He was a
yeah,
mayor of a
shit.
fucking shit town.
That little shit don't deserve shit.
No, he doesn't. And and here's the thing,
can't stand that guy,
the gay community will sit there and go, "Oh, the gay community is the worst about gay people," because there were people in the gay community who were attacking him, and they're like,
Yeah.
"No, we're not attacking him because he's gay. We're attacking him because he's a fucking corporate Democrat. He's a little ass kiss,
Right.
and he's willing to do whatever it takes to
get
move
there.
up the ladder."
Right.
And he proved that.
They're gonna prop him. They're
Oh
gonna
yeah,
prop him up.
absolutely.
I guarantee he'd be running for president after 4 years.
I wouldn't be surprised. And then you have someone like Kamala Harris. This bitch.
Let's not talk about how she got there.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And how corrupt she is. The fact that she fought against, just the fact that she fought against.
Oh, but Kurt, she did something progressive yesterday. Come on, calm down.
What
dude.
was that?
I was just joking.
Oh, okay. I was like, I didn't see that shit.
But that's the argument now. The argument now, she's done some progressive things. I haven't looked into it, but supposedly she's done progressive things.
Oh, so
her claim to fame, which I agree with, is the body cams on police officers.
Right.
That
That's
was
one
her
of them.
baby.
That's one of them.
She got that through. So, but outside of that,
okay, so when she actively fought against DNA that exonerated people, and she fought against that to make sure that it didn't happen.
Right.
How the fuck do you fight against something? What kind of person are you that you're willing to let an innocent person sit in prison that DNA can exonerate them, and you fight against that? Who the fuck are you? Seriously.
it happens a lot though.
It happens.
Oh, I know it does because again, they're just as corrupt as our fucking our federal politicians.
system, yeah.
The system is all fucked up. The justice system, the whole thing is, and that's why, these people who sit there and they're talking about defunding the police departments. I understand where they're coming from. I don't think that's the answer.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's definitely
not the answer.
It's not the answer, but we need to reallocate that fucking money
But
and quit militarizing the fucking police
that's
department.
the key right there.
That's number one.
I think that's what they mean by defunding.
Right, and
Don't give these motherfuckers tanks and machine guns,
right,
armor, like all this stuff, because they're not the military; they're police officers.
and we both know, or all three of us know.
Yeah.
Look, you give someone give them a fucking machine gun, and what are we doing? Looking for some shit to shoot. We'll go buy watermelons or whatever, because we're like. You don't have a toy like that and just let it sit there and collect dust. No, you're looking for a reason to use that fucker.
Well,
so
we spend all that money on the police, right? If you look at it, it's like millions and millions of dollars, right? But then you're closing down fucking schools,
right?
Elementary schools, middle schools.
I think it's like $9 billion.
Come
yeah,
on,
it's in the billions.
They should not have all that type of money like that.
I said this with James McClennis, and I think with Jeff Burns as well. And I'll say it again because not everybody hears all my episodes. But look, when you have money like Orange County did, where you had the sheriff allocate hundreds of thousands of dollars to go up and give that money to lobbyists for them to lobby for you to get more money, you got too much fucking money to begin with. So fuck that shit. And it's all about, again, it's all about more power. It's about more money. And
I think we need a salary cap.
Yeah.
On campaign.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Cap.
We and I've said this, that the number one issue is that we need to get money out of politics. We need to get the big money out of politics, because if we don't, nothing else is going to change. Term limits, it doesn't matter. They're always going to have the same, kiss ass little fucking people like what's the little douchebag from down south? The
Rubio.
Rubio.
Marco
there's
Rubio.
a fucking closet case for you right there.
Yeah.
This is, in my humble opinion, he's a closet case, okay?
I was like, I didn't know it was in the closet.
Oh, please. That bitch got caught in a park with his best friend named Angel.
What I'm saying is I thought he was open about it. I didn't.
Oh, no. Yeah, and then let me ask you, because you both are straight.
Secret is Ricky Martin.
Right, yeah.
Like we knew about Ricky Martin years ago.
So tell me how many, since you two are straight and married and everything, how many times have you been to a foam party at a gay club?
I haven't.
Yeah.
My wife's gone once though. She said it was a good time.
Well, women always go, but
I've been the one. It's a funny story, but I've been the one.
well, Ronnie, do tell.
Cut a long story short, it was my first date with my wife.
Oh yeah.
And her friends were gay. Some of her friends were gay, and one of them had a birthday. They wanted to go to a gay club, and this is my first time with this girl in a long time, with this beautiful, fine-looking woman on my first date, and they were all looking at me whether I'm going to go or not. So if I would have said no,
right.
That was
Well,
a test.
I mean, and that's kudos to you that you did that you did go and did
wasn't easy, Kurt.
right. Listen, I completely understand.
I'll tell you the story. It'll be a podcast, but I'll tell you the story after. It gets long. It's funny.
Okay.
As hell. But after that, I was like, man, gay people kind of cool, man. They're
Yeah.
just people
Now
like me.
just like everybody else, we have our assholes who sit there and but
Yeah, I mean, after that, I was like, it's not that bad. It's cool, you know what I mean? Because I got gay uncles and gay cousins or whatever. Like
right.
That. I love them to death. You know what I mean? I don't give a shit. But it's a funny story.
You probably like them more than I do.
It's a funny story.
I'm just
man.
joking, gay friends.
Yeah.
So,
No, but yeah, I feel you, man. Yeah.
So, all right. So, with James McClennis, did you go ahead?
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, with James McClennis, he brought up, I thought, which was a brilliant idea. And of course, I think I'm brilliant, but I didn't even think of this. So when he brought it up, it's like, damn, that's a good idea. Rather than taking the energy to start a third party, because it would take a great deal of energy to do that, and we'd have to get out and knock on all these doors, which we're going to have to do anyway. But now we're going to have to show the people that we know and explain to them over and over again about why the system is broken, and and some of them, like we talked about, just don't want to get it. So what if we started a party within the party? And I know there are going to be Democrats, just like, who were upset about Bernie and saying, "Oh, you should start your own party." Fuck you! I don't care what you think.
Take over this one.
But if we started, yes. And so what he suggested is that I forget what he called it. Do you remember?
I don't remember.
All right,
I was
but
just thinking, get rid of all parties. What about no parties?
What about just represent your state?
individuals?
What about just people that represent their states and they come?
See, I
here?
have an idea like that. It's far fetched. But going back to the salary cap, let's say it's campaign season. You have $100,000 to campaign, and you campaign your state. So we end up with 50 people. Now, once we got those 50 candidates, it becomes American Idol. You get Ryan Seacrest. It's abortion week, and you're hearing everybody's argument. And then at the end of the show, you're eliminating somebody. You come back, gun control week the next week. And then you do that for the whole season until we end up with like 5 guys, and then you actually go to the polls.
I think that could work, but I think
sounds crazy.
But what I think is no, I don't see. That's the thing.
It does sound crazy.
What I think is what we're doing.
Ryan Seacrest will do it though.
Yeah.
Another case. Again, in my humble opinion.
That's another podcast.
There's a lot of see-through closets because I'm like, really?
Yeah. Okay. You didn't watch the year when David Archuleta was on there and he practically molested that poor boy every time he was up. I was like, oh
Yeah, no,
my
I haven't
gosh.
seen it in years.
Well, I think that was the only year I've watched it. And so, as crazy as that sounds to me, the system we have right now is fucking crazy.
It is.
We
have the worst
it's not
system.
working. It is.
We're like third world country type of voting, style of. We have the worst system, voting system.
Yeah.
The electing system. It's bad. You can cheat
And that's
all
the
you
other thing.
want.
Other countries have more than 2 parties. Like
Yeah.
Lots
we've
more.
all lived in Germany.
Yeah.
There's 10, 12 parties come
Yeah.
election time.
Well,
And they don't. I don't want to jump the subject, but I kind of. It's hard to do like the third party because the media controls everything.
Exactly.
We can't even get on the debate
Right.
stage.
exactly.
If you cannot get on the debate stage, you ain't got no fucking chance.
Well, that's because they create that rule where you got to poll 17% or
So
something.
they
before you
make
get
up some numbers.
So it's impossible for somebody to get up
Yeah,
there.
it's an imaginary number. They're
Yeah.
just making that shit up
Yeah,
because they
and
know
it-
we can't get it right away.
Yeah.
But
Well-
if we got on there, if somebody got there representing a third party and they're going against 2 dickheads
Yeah.
from Republicans, I guarantee you things would change.
So maybe the change starts with changing rules rather than starting a new party or whatever. Lower that or eliminate that. Allow anybody to get up there on the debate stage. Right. You're going to have some control because you can't have 1,000.
Right,
guys up
because then you'll get some idiot like me up there going, I want to be on there.
Yeah.
It's like,
there. But you have people like, for example, Dr. Jo Jorgensen, who's the Libertarian candidate this election. She can't get on the debate stage. She's already won her party. There's nobody there.
right.
And I never heard of her.
And she can't get on stage.
Yeah, and that's
She's
yeah.
on the ballot in every state.
And that's bullshit. If you're on the ballot on every state and you're the
She doesn't,
if you're the
Who was
Who was the
candidate,
last guy? Was it Ross Perot?
Ross Perot, 92.
He was the last one.
right?
And
And,
I never seen-
and Ross Perot, I want to kick him in the ass because it's his fault that again, that was when we had a real chance with a third party. But then that bitch went psycho and crazy and started talking about how his family was being threatened. It's like, bitch, you talk about all the time about how you're a badass.
See,
And
I
like,
think-
and he supported shit. And all of a sudden,
He did pretty well. He got like 19% of the vote.
but that
but
was in the beginning. He could have gotten more.
I think that's at the end. If you look.
Oh,
at the
was it?
final
I thought it was
numbers-
at the beginning of it.
Yeah. At the final numbers, I think he got 19% of the country's vote, like popular vote, not electoral. That's
Yeah, but
totally
when
different.
you say the end of it, he didn't go all the way through. He dropped out before.
They still voted. Same. Bernie last election got 111,000 votes, I think.
Yeah,
somewhere
I know
around
2 of them.
there. Yeah. But I think what killed Ross Perot was Saturday Night Live. He became, like, now we have memes,
Yeah.
but he became a Dana Carvey skit.
Yeah.
It's like Howard Dean, he was
yeah.
this candidate, and then he does his famous
Yeah.
yeah. And then
we
that's
can't have
it.
him
He's done.
president.
He's done.
Well, doesn't that look funny though? You know that Howard Dean was just because he showed some enthusiasm one time and that he was done,
Yeah.
and now the shit that goes on they don't even bat an eye at it now. It's like you can do any crazy shit and you could still get elected.
It's all how the media twists it around. Yeah.
And that's exactly right, and that's the point you guys are bringing up is that it's not something we can't make changes while the media's in cahoots and conspiring with these two fucking parties.
Exactly.
And all this, I don't know about because I'm older than you two, but when I was coming up in elementary school, every fucking year like clockwork, which I didn't mind because it was a cartoon, or it was what is it? Not a cartoon, but what do you call it when it's animated? Just it's an animated.
It's a cartoon.
Okay, it's a fucking cartoon. It's Animal Farm. That shit was indoctrinated. But it was a film. It was a cartoon film. And that shit gets indoctrinated that socialism's bad, communism's bad, capitalism's great, democracy's great. Yeah. And so this shit gets ingrained in your head so that anytime anyone says the word socialism or socialist democrat or suggests a third party or anything, that shit gets shot down because it's, we learned a lot from Goebbels in fucking Germany, during World War II. And the U.S. has become pros at it. And one of the concerns I have is that you have governments like in Finland and Norway and places like that. They see what the fuck we're doing. And I feel like that we're going to poison their fucking governments. That they're going to get those right-wing conservatives in their parties, and they're going to use the same tactics that we use, and it's going to spread like a fucking virus that's going to be worse than anything coronavirus could ever wish to be.
That might happen. I don't know.
Look, anytime people find a way to get advantage over others, there's always those assholes who will do it. And I don't care what country you're from.
I think the difference is the citizens, though, because like here, like we've all lived overseas. If there's an issue, if the people have an issue with the government, they get it changed. Their protests are completely different.
Right.
They actually change the laws when Italy or Germany or whoever, you're not going to get anything done unless you change that law. The people will stop everything. We're here, I'm holding up my sign in my designated protest zone, and it's time to eat. I'm hungry. I'm going home.
Get your ass whooped and dragged out.
It's a joke.
But so that's another good point you make. So what do you think about these protests that are going on now that have been going on for months? This is something that we've never seen before.
Talking about Black Lives Matter?
Yeah. I never
see black people at these.
Right.
I was just talking to my dad about that. We were watching TV. My dad likes to watch Fox. I've been trying to stop watching that bullshit, Dad. Stop. Stop, Dad.
They're all run by the same guy.
We're all sitting there, we're watching it, and it's not all black people. It's all white people with masks on, and windows and all that.
Probably police officers.
Police. You don't know who exactly.
Oh yeah.
You don't know who's police. You don't know who's a protest. You don't know who the hell's what. They're covered up.
Well, here's part of the problem, and I think it shows the time that we're in. Is that there is no real leader of the Black Lives Matter, it's like
they have a website though.
Now, right? They do have a website, but the thing is like
there's no like Martin Luther King.
There's a good thing. There's a good thing about it because you can't chop the head off the snake because you don't know who the fucking head is.
Right.
But the other problem is that there's nothing guiding that fucking body. It's just flopping around.
Right.
So you don't know who's part of it, who isn't, and so you have these.
It's like their built-in excuse, though.
Yeah, exactly.
They've become an umbrella. Like everybody agrees Black Lives Matter. Like who does? You wouldn't be human if you didn't.
Go on Facebook. I'll show you people don't.
All lives matter shit.
All lives matter. Yeah, but it's funny because I saw someone make this point the other day. It's like, you ever notice that the only people only say all lives matter when it's Black Lives Matter, but when they say Blue Lives Matter, nobody says all lives matter. They go, oh yeah, Blue Lives Matter. Like, first of all, there's no such thing as fucking blue lives. And why do you only say all lives matter when we're talking about Black lives? And for the last goddamn time, we have pointed out, I shouldn't say we because I'm not I didn't do it, but they have pointed out that Black Lives Matter has said, yes, we believe all lives matter. All we're saying is so do Black lives, because when you sit there and say all lives matter, guess what? You haven't been including us. And so we're just telling you, and that all lives matter, we're black. We matter too, and we should be part of that. Right. So all you racist little assholes out there who want to keep making excuses
they have
for
an agenda.
Right.
They're a huge umbrella. So now it's beyond Black Lives Matter at this point. They're making millions and millions of
Oh
dollars.
yeah, and they're
And they're not helping anybody.
They're not. Well,
You know, businesses are being burned. People are being injured or killed.
Okay.
Officers are being killed.
so let's address that just for
And
a
where's
second.
that money going?
All right, so let's address that. I understand. I don't agree with it. I will say that. I do not agree with it. But one of the things I always tell people is look at it from the different perspectives out there. I understand why people get irate, why they burn businesses down, why they loot. I don't agree with it, but I understand
Well,
it.
go to Beverly Hills and do it. Don't do it
Exactly.
in your own neighborhood.
It's just like those dumb shits who sit there and will block the highways and I go, why are you blocking us? Get your fucking asses down where the police are and block them. Don't stand in the middle of the road where I have to go to work or I'm taking grandma to her doctor's appointment or whatever. Go do it to the people who are holding you back, not the rest of us who are probably allies or could be allies, and now you just pissed us off and now we're not going to be allies. You know?
It's the Black Lives Matter movement has been hijacked. It's been simple as that. That's how you stop a movement. You just create chaos. You send motherfuckers dressed up in different ways, send them in the middle of the group. All right, bust window. I'll pay you $500 or pay you $100. Break that window over there. Those people, I believe that they're being paid.
Oh, there's opportunists out there, and there's what do they call agent provocateurs that go out there and just cause trouble that have nothing to do with.
That's how you stop a movement.
But that's what happens when you don't have a leader of the movement. Like, see, that shit didn't happen when with King. You know, he was. You knew that this was his movement, and he had everybody in line saying,
He was willing
"You're
to
to
put
be
his life on
right.
the line.
Yeah.
I'm willing to put my life on the line, and this is how we're going to behave. You're going to wear suits. You're going to be, you're going to behave in a civilized manner. And if you're not part of our movement. It's that simple.
But what happened when he got assassinated? Nobody else stepped up.
Yeah.
They were like, fuck that shit. I don't want to get shot in the
Guys
head.
like that, if you just look throughout history, there's not too many of them.
No.
Whether they're good or bad, because you could look at like a Napoleon or a Hitler and say the same thing. Those guys, they had that drive and that they were willing to die for their beliefs, and then they get to that level. So, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, they're willing to put their lives on the line.
Yeah, but the difference between King and Hitler is Hitler was all about himself and about power and money for himself,
Right, yeah.
where King was about uplifting the people.
Exactly.
And I want to make another point too. I don't believe Martin Luther King would have been as successful as he was if it weren't for Malcolm X, if it weren't for the Black Panthers.
Right.
Because here's what happens. You get white people who's like, Martin Luther King, we're not going to deal with him. Well, then you have the Black Panthers, you have Malcolm X that come along who have more radical ideas about kill fucking white people. All of a sudden, I think we'll deal with Martin Luther King because they don't want to deal with fucking Malcolm X or the Panthers.
But it was a movement. It was, the entire civil rights movement.
Right.
It was,
But I think that you need that threat there for people, and that's why with the Black Lives Matter I understood the looting stuff, because not until you start fucking scaring the rich white people
Then they start,
do things start getting done.
Yeah, it's true.
But you shouldn't be fucking burning your own goddamn neighborhoods and restaurants and stuff that are owned by mom and pop and then looting it.
I don't think they're the ones doing it, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I can see
there's some of them, but again, I think those are just opportunists who are there just for the sake of, and again, they have a point. It's like, the government just looted us of trillions of dollars by subsidizing corporations, and that's okay because that was done, lawfully.
They may not be doing it, but they're profiting off of it, and they're not doing anything with that money. Like, what change have they made, or
None.
who have they helped?
And this is the thing. This is the bullshit that we keep getting fed. What would have happened if we would have taken that $1 trillion or $2 trillion, whatever the final cost was that we gave to corporations? What do you think would have happened had we given that to every working American?
Man.
Guess what?
They would have spent it, and it would have went
right back into
it.
Just like during the housing bust, when we bailed out those fucking banks for trillions of dollars. If you had given those trillions of dollars to the people who had mortgages, guess what? The banks would have still got the money because the people would have paid off their mortgages, and now they would have had their houses, and the banks would have had their money. But no, we got fucked because we gave the money to the banks got the money, and they got the houses when people defaulted on them.
Yeah.
So don't tell me the fucking system isn't rigged.
Right.
And again, I think the thing that pisses me off the most are these people, because they get pissed off at any time they think someone's taking advantage of the system. Like, well, I know this lady down the street, and she's collecting unemployment, and she gets benefits for 6 kids because she's popping kids out. Whatever little amount of money that may be, and even if it were true, which I don't believe the majority of the time it is, but even if it were true, you're worried about this little woman down the street popping out 6 kids, but it doesn't bother you one fucking bit that the banks just stole trillions of dollars from us. You don't. Why is that okay? Because we have this mindset where we believe that they're powerful, they deserve certain shit, that they're allowed to get over on us, but you and I can't get over on each other.
It's okay because they were brainwashed by the media because the excuse was this was to save the economy.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, and that was bullshit.
Obama's doing this to save the economy, you know?
And again, intelligent people, I mean, extremely
dumb.
intelligent people fell for that shit.
I know.
Those people do exist, though. Those girls you're talking about.
Oh yeah, I know
exist.
that. Yeah, but again, they're less than 1% of the people who collect any type of benefits. Less than 1, and I can assure you, it doesn't even add up to $1 billion, let alone trillions of dollars. And yet, it's like, but because we see that person as an equal, we don't like it when equals get over on us. It's okay if we see people who are above us to get over on us. But if you're an equal, no, you can't do that. You know, that's bad.
There's people out there gaming the system, and like you said, it is a small percentage at the end of the day. Everybody's going to try to make a buck, you know.
Yeah, and when they get caught, put them in jail. But you know what? Those fucking bankers should be in prison.
A lot of them should.
A
lot of them.
And the countries who did that, like the Nordic countries who put their fucking bankers in prison, their economy is doing way much better than ours. And not only that, guess what? That shit ain't going to happen there again.
No.
You know, it'll happen here over and over and over again.
They're not going to jail.
Right.
Going to jail.
They have a different system too. I think too many times we compare ourselves to, you know, a European country or Canada, and expect the same things, but their government is completely different. Like, what works in Germany is not going to work here unless we completely change everything.
Well, and that you make a great point. That's the thing. That's what I'm suggesting. Burn this fucking system down and start over from scratch again, and make a new system, because this system is not working for the people of this country. It's working for the few who are powerful and rich.
Right.
That's who it's working for. And I want to make this perfectly clear too. I am not anti-rich, because one day.
Right.
I plan on being very rich,
but I'll pay taxes. But I want to be rich too.
Exactly. But there are good rich people out there, so I don't buy into the bullshit that there shouldn't be any billionaires. Right. I do think there should be billionaires, but they should pay their fair share of taxes, and they should be responsible. You know, with great power comes great responsibility. Thank you. So, so I'm not anti-rich. It's just that they should pay their fair share.
It should be fair, yeah.
Right.
Pay their fair share, yeah. If my dad doesn't pay taxes, what do you think is going to happen to my dad?
Yeah, he's going to jail.
Thank you. He's going to jail, and he's first going to get penalized.
Right.
If he doesn't pay the penalty, then he goes to jail.
But he's going to jail because he's not rich.
Right.
See, if you're rich, you don't have to pay
right.
taxes.
So let's bring up
class warfare.
Like, how the fuck does Trump and his sons steal money from a fucking charity and get away with it and not do any jail time? How? How is that
powerful.
Okay?
He's the president of the United States, most powerful man.
Yeah, but this was even before he was president. This isn't the first time they got caught stealing from a charity.
I don't think Trump even pays fucking taxes, to be honest.
Oh, he doesn't, because if he did, that bitch would have released his taxes a long time ago. Just like damn well he was a piss poor student, because if this bitch was as smart as he says he is, and he would have gotten straight A's, and he would have that shit out there for everybody to see. He's hiding that shit.
Who the fuck gets audited for 4 or 5 years on their taxes?
Yeah.
What the?
He's smart enough to game the system. He's got how many bankruptcies?
Right. But that problem is that we have people out there who
has billions in the bank.
Yeah. And that's just it. But the problem lies in that we have too many people who are too stupid who buy into his shit.
Right.
And That's why we're in the situation we're in. I know people on both the left and the right. Like there's this guy, he's a gay guy who he's all about fucking Trump. His name's Randy Ross. He was even like a campaign guy for fucking Trump 4 years ago. All right. He made a post today talking about how he can't stand watching the media because it's all bullshit about Biden and everything because he was watching something on CNN or whatever. And I go, here's the problem. I go, it's funny how you can see all the flaws on the left, but you can't see the flaws on your own side.
Thank you.
And that's where the problem lies, because the same thing applies to those on the left. You can fucking point out all the flaws of Trump, but you can't see the flaws of Hillary or the flaws of Biden or the flaws of Kamala. Give me a fucking break. Because I said, at the very least, you're disingenuous. And I said, at the very most, you're fucking deceitful.
Right.
And that's where it lies. And all he could do is like give a laugh emoji because he knows I'm right. He can't say anything because you're full of shit.
Right.
You're pushing a false narrative to push your own agenda, and you don't care who fucking gets hurt. You don't have the balls to come out and call it what it is.
Yeah, just say my party's
It's like
fucked up too.
right,
It's
yeah. It's like
messed
my
up.
party's fucked up, but this is why I'm voting for it.
Right,
You know?
that's it. Be honest about it.
Now, I do know some people like you, and I have a client, and he's like, he understands and he sees the flaws of Biden, but he goes, this is so much more about not just the economy. There's a lot that's entailed. So, he's going to vote for Biden. It's not that he's a Biden man, but he's going to vote for him because he feels like there's so much more at stake. And I happen to agree with him.
I admitted it too on Facebook that I'm going to vote for Biden. I just see Trump as a dangerous man.
Right.
More dangerous. Look what is going on around the world in the United States since he's become president. He's let these crazy motherfuckers come out of their caves and say, hey, shit, this is the 50s. We back again.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just see the world changed, and it's changed for the worst. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Since he's become president. Yeah, I mean, when Obama was president, I mean, I didn't see none of this shit. I don't agree with a lot of things Obama did.
No, I did not.
He didn't stop the wars. He didn't do anything. You know what I mean? And he bailed out the banks. He didn't bail us out. I mean, I can go on and on and on.
Right.
But there's something about Trump. He gives me an ill feeling, man. You know what I mean? Because if we have another war as him being president, imagine us going to war with another country with him being president.
Yeah.
Imagine what the fuck he'll do. You know what I mean? He'll probably send a nuclear fucking bomb over there. You know what I mean? And all hell will be breaking loose.
I don't think he has any morals. But then again, I don't think that the majority of people in Congress has morals either. I think they use it as rhetoric, but they don't have any.
Would this have happened if he wasn't the president? That's the question.
I don't think so.
I mean, if Hillary was there, we still would have had COVID.
Yeah,
Trump didn't create COVID.
And that's where the left is being dishonest when they sit there and go, oh, they blame everything on Trump about COVID. Like, well, you could have handled it better. You motherfuckers are sitting there telling everybody to go out and eat at the restaurants just like he was. Pelosi and not Reid, but Schumer, you were all sitting out there saying the same shit. So don't sit there and act like, like all of a sudden that
Well, anyways, but there was something that a long time ago when Barack Obama, I hate going back to Barack Obama, because he could have fixed a lot of shit.
He could have.
So with all the shit going on, with black people being arrested if they're walking to their car or they can't get into an apartment, they're looking for their keys, they get their ass whooped, killed, whatever, the stupidest shit. Cleaning the street. You seen that guy sweeping his building outside, and the cop stopped him, and all this guy. I saw a video the other day. I think when you were talking about the sheriff's county put it up. They thought it was cool as shit that they stopped a black man jogging, and that the black man was respectable. Respectable.
Right.
And the other police are respectable to him too. That motherfucker was terrified the whole time
Right.
in the video.
He was doing the right
He's
thing.
like, baby. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
He was terrified. He was terrified. But there was an incident when Barack Obama was president. I don't know if you guys remember. There was a black professor who couldn't open the keys to his house or something like that, and a neighbor called the police on him, and the police showed up and arrested him. Remember that?
Yes,
He was fucking pissed. And what did Barack Obama do, if you can remember? He got the media outside the White House. They set up a fucking table. They put 2 beers. They forced the police officer to sit at the table, and they forced the other black professor. I know that motherfucker didn't want to be there.
Right.
Sat there and they drank beer together. Remember that?
Yep, I do remember
He
that.
didn't fucking do shit. He didn't do shit. He didn't nip nothing in the butt. He could have done so much. He didn't do shit, man. He didn't want to put up the fight. He didn't want to fight. He didn't want to fight.
Well, that's
This has been going on for a long time.
I have a lot of black friends who sat there and said Obama didn't do shit for us, and they're right. He didn't.
No, but you got people who kiss his ass because he can smile. He can play
You have
basketball,
white
he's
people.
charisma.
You have fucking white people who kiss his ass.
I got a lot of friends who are black on Facebook that love his ass. If I say something
Really?
bad, if I say something bad about him, check the comments out on Facebook.
I don't have any black. I mean,
Worship that guy.
I don't. No, I'll take that back. I do have some black friends who liked Obama, But let's be real. If you hold up Obama against Bush, or or Trump, he does. He comes off looking like a fucking saint,
Yes.
because one, you have a fucking war
course.
criminal, and the other one wants to be a war criminal.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think if Obama went against Trump, he would beat Trump.
Yeah.
I think he would beat Trump again, easy. I think he would beat Trump.
But that second 4 years, like, everybody turned their back on Obama.
They did. I was one of them.
Well, and again,
So the first 4 years, yeah, maybe.
I voted for him the first 4 years. The second, I was like,
one?
fuck this guy.
But
man.
here's the thing: it's like I mentioned earlier. I don't think it was Obama in the beginning. I don't think he was part of the system until he realized that he couldn't get shit passed in those first 2 years, because he realized this fucking system's rigged. These fucking corporate Democrats are not going to do shit. They're not going to pass shit for me because it doesn't apply to their big ass donors.
Right.
So, I think he decided, okay, I can do one of two things at this point. I can either play the game or I can just fucking become a lame duck president.
He's rich as shit now.
Yeah, he is.
He's rich as shit.
Well, I think that's
How
what.
the hell? You're the president of the United States and now you're a fucking millionaire.
The
now.
same way fucking Pelosi's rich, the same way Mitch
Clinton's-
McConnell's rich, way Clintons are fucking.
Yeah.
Oh, don't even get me started on the fucking Clintons.
Go do
Yeah.
a speech for $200,000.
Yeah, because they're worth it. Because that's all that
Words
is
of
is
wisdom.
right. All that is just a fucking bribe. That's all that is. To say, oh yeah, here's we're paying your bribe, but it's it's under it's called a speech, but that's a fucking bribe. It's all it is.
So, back to the question: how does the third party get in there?
Okay, so we were. You're absolutely right.
How's it possible?
So here's what we do. We can either spend all this energy and money to start our own third party. I even thought, we need to call it the People's Party.
I thought I was going to bring that up. Isn't
I
Nina
think
Turner doing that?
There is
Who?
a People's Party already.
Nina Turner.
Oh, okay.
Because I saw something that they were doing some kind of campaign thing and some kind of live
All right.
thing. It was called the People's Party.
Okay,
Nina Turner.
that's
I
great.
know it exists.
You know why? Because she heard my podcast when I said that.
Probably.
No, I'm joking.
You know who Nina Turner is,
Yeah, of
right?
course I
What
do.
Bernie
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
It'd be
Of course I do.
Logic and Reason Party.
The logic, yeah, except nobody would join except
Exactly.
Yeah. Fucking that.
us. So,
You know what planet you living on? You know what state you living in?
Planet of the Apes.
all right, so and that's where my mind was. I was like, look, we need to start a third party now because the time has come. But when
Yeah.
James McClellan said, let's start a movement within the Democratic Party, very much that's reminiscent the way liberals did back when the Dixiecrats had control of the fucking Democratic Party. They basically pushed them the fuck out. And what happened? The Dixiecrats got upset and ended up going to the Republican Party. And that's when it transitioned from being a racist fucking party to where the Republicans became the racist party, because that's where all the fucking racists went, to the Republican Party, because they didn't like the movement that the liberals were doing, which was being behind the civil rights movement and equality and things of that nature. So they moved over to the Republican Party. And I guarantee you, if we did that, if we started a party within the party and ousted these fucking corporate Democrats, these centrist Democrats, I guarantee, because they're already fucking Republicans. How is it that you invite Republican, politicians to come speak at the DNC, and you give AOC, 60 seconds or whatever the fuck it was, and any progressive out there?
And they only gave it to her because people complained.
Right,
She wasn't
exactly.
She wasn't even supposed
So
to be there.
what does that tell you about the DNC and the Democratic Party when they're willing to put fucking Republicans up there to speak for you before they will your people
'Cause
who are
she's
part
the
of your
star.
party? Right, and they don't want
She
her to be the star.
represents the people.
Right,
Right.
right.
But I thought that's what's going on now. I thought that's what Bernie started. Let's go within the party. Let's
That's
get AOC.
right.
Let's go with Ilhan Omar. Let's get this person. You
But
know what I
what-
mean? They're slowly starting to grow within the party.
Well, what James McClennis had suggested is that you have a party within the party to where, because haven't donated a dime to the fucking Democrats. I've donated Bernie Sanders, but I did not donate,
Same
and
here.
I will not donate to him.
Same
But
here.
what if there was a progressive Democratic agency where we could donate money to the progressive Democrats, where they got their own fucking money and they were able to fund the progressives out there and give them the support that the DNC gives their corporate people, and to be able to make the playing ground a little bit more level.
Right.
So I think it's brilliant. I really do, and I think that because I would donate that to that. I would donate to progressive Democrats or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
You know, and
I just think they're still going to get outspent when it comes.
oh yeah, they are, and we're
winning though.
right, and that's the thing, because look, that's where Bernie and AOC and the rest of them have all shown you, money doesn't necessarily guarantee you a win. What's going to guarantee you that win is that you get your ass out there and you work for it. Work for it. But see, people like fucking Clinton and people like Biden, they don't want to work for it. They want to, they don't want to go door to door. They'll go out and campaign.
They don't even go state to state.
No, they don't.
They got their 5 or 6 states that they're going to visit.
Right. And that was Hillary's mistake. That was why she lost the electoral
I think it
vote.
needs to be easier than that. I think instead of hiring lobbyists, you get like social media influencers. Like politics has to evolve with the times.
Oh yeah.
So you should campaign through social media, through Instagram, through Facebook. Have your candidate do a TikTok video, something where he's going to reach or she reach millions and millions of people. You don't need the millions and millions of dollars to go
social
that
media.
way. You could still take your idea where you're getting that donation from the
Right.
People's Party, but use the money smart.
Here's what you do. I agree with you 100%.
If Kim Kardashian can get 2 billion likes, why can't somebody get 2 billion votes?
Well, because they usually don't look like Kim Kardashian and won't do a sex tape.
So you
That's
put her
why.
as VP.
She actually said something the other day about because Chris or her mother, whatever her name is, came to her and said that, and I don't remember if this was the other day, if this was an older one, but said that Playboy wanted to do an article on her, and that, and Kim's like, I don't want to be known as the girl who always takes her clothes off. I go, what else are you going to be known for? That's all you're known for.
Sex tape.
Right, and you released it, when she tried to act like she was shocked at it. She was the one who released the damn sex tape, and they're like, oh, I can't believe it got out there. Why? You're the one who put it out there, bitch.
I can't stand the Kardashians.
I can't stand
She
them.
is playing everybody for a fool. She's a lot smarter than people.
Oh yeah, well,
than people think she is.
Listen, you don't get that fucking rich and not know how to play the game. You just don't, So, but I don't know about TikTok. Everything else, But I go.
I don't even have TikTok.
Nobody
I'm just saying.
Nobody over 25 should be on TikTok unless you're making fun of yourself. That
I don't have TikTok. But I
Just
thought
the
about it.
fact
Somebody
that
was telling me
social
to get
media
it.
influencer is a job. Like, what world are we living in?
Yeah, and they get
But
upset.
I
Have
know.
you seen some of these like influencers that get upset because they demand that you should give them money and stuff? Like, what?
But some of them are. Some of them are.
Oh, there's some of them banking.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking
Dude,
millions.
YouTube stars, they're banking.
I do not see the appeal of Logan Paul whatsoever.
Me
He's
neither.
a dumb fuck, and
Well,
in my humble opinion, I just don't see why people follow his dumb ass. All I can see is that he tries to agitate people, and I go, one day someone's gonna punch you in your fat little face, and that'll be the end of you. And, I mean, maybe you'll be famous because you'll put it on YouTube, but someone's gonna beat the shit out of you because you're gonna be you're being a little punk ass.
Isn't that what he's doing? He's trying to
That's what he
be
does.
a boxer or something.
Yeah.
But he's boxing other people, you fucking YouTubers. It's like, how hard is that? It's like, Jesus.
But I think piggybacking what he was saying. I mean, look at the times now. You don't have to travel to get a message across to another state. You can sit at home and do virtual live right in your office, like Biden does with his damn speeches. Everything's virtual. Everything's live. Get a YouTube account. Get an Instagram. Put it on live. Millions and millions of people will watch it. You spread your message. Boom.
Yeah, except Biden can't seem to talk in front of a camera anymore, so I don't know.
Shit, I don't even. That's Biden.
So here's
He's a
the question though.
There's somebody's
so-
hand up his ass, moving his mouth.
I wonder if it's Russia's ass. I don't know.
Yeah. Putin.
Putin's got
That
Trump.
doggone Putin.
Putin's got Trump, his hand up Trump's ass here, and Biden's ass
That
here.
pesky rascal Putin.
Carol
Exactly.
Baskin.
Carol Baskin.
So stupid, man.
All right, so here's the question then. Okay, I agree with you. I think that we do need to use social media, but I still think you need to get out there and knock on the doors, and you need to let people know because Instagram and Facebook, can't convey the importance of them getting out to vote, and it'd be one thing, in which I'm not opposed to, but it'd be one thing if you could vote online, because then I think we would have a huge fucking turnout. But the fact of the matter is people who go for their entertainment on YouTube, they don't want to go stand in a line.
Yeah.
They don't, and even though, and I'm going, you do realize this is about your future. My future isn't nearly as long as your future,
Right.
and you're the ones who should be fucking worried about
Fighting,
this shit,
yeah.
right? If
Definitely.
if I was fighting for my cause, for my own self, I'd sit there and go, I don't want taxes raised because I ain't going to be around to enjoy it in 40 years the way you
Right.
are. So, and that's where you get the boomers who sit there and go, that's why they vote for Biden and shit because, they're only concerned about themselves, which I think is extremely, selfish. And yet that's, as a
We
country.
definitely need to vote online.
So
That'd be-
45% of the country doesn't even vote because they don't
Online
want to. They don't want to deal with the hassle. But if they could use their social security number to vote online,
But
they do
man,
it.
but you know
We
how
get more
easy it
votes.
is to cheat online or hack online.
Yeah,
that's
but
why,
if you-
that's why
but-
it's got to be attached to the social security number.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Then you're still going to have the dead people voting, but they're voting right now anyway.
They vote right now anyway.
I think a cat won.
I think I'd rather
governor
take that
seat.
shit old school. Get a fucking pen and just check mark it and put in the fucking ballot.
Yeah, but
box.
we've seen
Well,
even
that's what I'm gonna do,
like
man.
with James McClennis, we saw how that the sheriff's department brought these ballots that were taken, and they weren't supposed to be out of the sight of the people who sit there and watch over the ballots.
Right.
They were not supposed to leave their sight, and yet these sheriffs took the fucking ballots, themselves, because it was for the who was running for what's his name, Gary Arya or whatever the hell his name was. That's the sheriff, and he had his sheriffs take the ballots without having one of those people who were supposed to overlook them. So even with that, even if we wrote it, there's still ways to scam the system.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we don't know where our vote goes.
Right,
They
right.
could just be throwing it in the closet and then just
Right.
saying whatever on TV.
It's rigged. It's rigged.
So I think
It's a rigged system.
I think with Nelson saying, I think it might be a little bit more challenging to rig it if you have it tied to a social security number, because at least then you can go back and check and see
then
if there are people
if
dead.
somebody votes and their vote's not accepted because they already voted, well, now it's out in the open.
Right.
Now someone hijacked your social security number, and you raise the flag.
I think that's the future of voting, and I think it should be, because then it makes it so that people who are all upset on Facebook and ranting and raving, now you can actually do something about it. I mean, you can do something about it now. You can get off your ass and go out and vote,
Right.
but a lot of them won't. They'll sit there. They'll spend all day long on
excuses.
on Facebook and ranting about it. But when it comes time to actually do something about it, they can't be bothered. So. So I do see that as possibly being a way to end up, or like some countries, it's mandatory that you vote. You have to vote, or else you go to jail. It's that simple. Guess what?
Yeah.
You'll get off your ass.
Oh yeah,
You know?
right, you will. Yeah.
What do you
It's
think
not
about that?
Hard.
No, it really isn't. But you find that.
I think if you're going to do it, there's got to be an easy way to do it.
Yeah.
Because
More simple.
there are some you could have that single mom who's raising 4 kids and working 3 jobs. She's not going to make it out to the poll. You can't
times are
threaten her
tough,
with jail time because she can't make it out.
Right.
The awkward times like on a weekday right after you have to
Well,
work.
and what if you made election day actually a holiday?
That's right
That's a
there.
great
That's
idea.
a great idea.
Yeah.
I would love that. That'd be
I
great.
think they
There's
should.
no excuse from there. Everybody's off. Things are closed.
You'll
Go
need
vote.
more polling places though. because they would just get
Right.
smothered.
Well, that's the fucking Republicans pulling that bullshit. You know, and speaking of you Republicans out there, I doubt any of you are listening to my show, but if you are, here's the thing. If you got such a great fucking message, why are you trying to keep it from people? Why would you limit people to vote? Because you know that you stand a better chance of winning when you have less voters. What's that say about your fucking message?
Yeah.
You know? It probably isn't that good of a message, and it's just self-serving, and that's what you don't want people to vote on, because you realize that if people vote, they're going to vote for themselves, and they're not going to vote for you.
Right.
And so that's that's another problem.
That's all the illusion too. Like people think, like we're here talking about third party. I vote third party, and every election I hear, it's a wasted vote.
I hate that.
You wasted your vote.
Right.
But when you break it down to, Trump only got about 25% of the vote, and he's the president of the United States.
So here's what I'm going to say to those people, is that you did not waste your vote. You did not waste your vote. The people who wasted their vote were people who voted for people who aren't going to do shit for them.
Yeah.
That's who wasted their vote. If you got rid of your fucking defeatist attitude, Tim, and you started thinking about, hey, what if I did the right thing? If more people started saying, what if I voted for the right person instead of voting for the person who was popular, but I really voted for the person who has our best interest at heart, guess what? If everyone were to do that, the right person would be in office.
Yeah.
But instead, all you fuckers out there who vote for who you think is one of those two parties, you're the one with the defeatist attitude.
Yeah.
You're the one wasting your damn vote. And if you don't think so, fucking email me and tell me about it, and I'll have you on the damn show. We will sit down and debate this shit.
And maybe it's time to get rid of the Electoral College then. And
Oh,
go-
yeah.
it's gotta
Without
be
a doubt.
popular vote.
They should have been got rid of that shit.
Yeah, that and again, but you see, both parties, they only say it when they're the ones who lose.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
But and that'll go away. Nobody's going to do anything. It's maybe it will at some point, sort of like the way college football went. Where it used to be that you had all these bowl games, and then they would decide who was the national champ. Now we actually have a playoff system.
Yeah.
But how many fucking decades did that take before it finally happened?
A lot.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think is going to happen with the Electoral College. It's going to take a lot of years before both parties just finally go, okay, we need to get rid of this shit.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't serve either one of them.
Yeah. And I think what people don't realize is they're actually people. Like
Yeah.
They see the Electoral College and they kind of get it, and they know about the census, and California's got more votes because they got more people or whatever, but they don't realize that every one of those electoral votes is actually a person
Right.
who casted the vote, who can vote for whoever
Exactly.
they want.
Right.
One person, right?
One
Right.
person.
One
Bill
different person.
Clinton is an electoral voter in the state of New York.
Wow.
He gets to cast a vote. So
Wow.
when you're saying it's
That's
supposed
the
to be
stupidest
it's
shit.
supposed to be winner take all,
Yeah.
except in Nebraska and New Hampshire. Yet if you look at the last election, I think there was 9 third-party candidates who got 1 electoral vote each. I think Bernie Sanders actually got 1 electoral vote. It wasn't in Nebraska or New Hampshire, so you have these guys, and maybe that's the key too for the Electoral College. If somebody's willing to just be an outlier and not go left or right and vote, I forget, I think it's Massachusetts, there's a Native American girl. She got 0 votes, but she got 1 electoral vote
Really.
in the last election.
So that raises a good question. And what is the organization that votes on votes who goes up to movies to go up for the Academy Award? It's the Motion Picture Association.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically what you have at the Motion Picture Associations, you got a bunch of these old white dudes. So for the longest time, you never saw movies that were black casts or things like that were ever nominated, because it didn't appeal to these old white guys who were voting. So the same problem arises in the electoral vote. We don't know who the fuck is who has those electoral votes and
you
what
can
they're
look them up. You can look up and know exactly who they are, but nobody ever talks about
right,
it.
exactly, because we don't know what their views are. We don't know if they're racist. We don't know if they're fucking socialists or communists or rich fucking capitalists who
But they're representing your state,
right?
And they're picking the president.
And I'm willing to bet, because they are, that they're more white and more wealthy than they aren't.
Oh, yeah.
So-
I would love to see
have
their
an
bank
agenda.
account.
yeah, exactly.
That'd be kind of cool to bring it up. The media would bring it up, right? And from Florida, Billy Bob chose Trump.
Yeah, exactly. Make
You
them
all voted for what?
That's a great idea. Make them answer for their fucking vote and go, why would you vote against the people in your state and give your electoral vote to somebody that your state said we want someone else?
Right.
I'd be curious to know when they cast the vote.
Right.
Yeah.
They may not even wait for polls. They might, I'm picking this guy.
Well, because they already have their mind made up. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, it's sort of like that same. And I know I'm not gonna sit there and say I was the first. I know I was the first one I ever heard say it. But I said back many years ago, I go, our fucking politicians need to wear a fucking suit, just like NASCAR does, and put all their fucking
sponsors.
donors and sponsors are on their fucking suit, so we can see who's backing their asses.
Yeah.
Because I would love to see who fucking backs Mitch McConnell.
Oh,
And that
man.
fucking
That guy.
again.
You'd see the same names on both sides, though.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
the corporations are going to play both sides to guarantee that their interests are going to be met.
Absolutely. And
They're giving you a choice between Coke and Pepsi.
right.
Which one do you want?
Yeah. And I agree. And I'm going to say this too. In my humble opinion, Mitch McConnell is the biggest fucking traitor to this country that we have ever seen. He is absolutely the biggest traitor. And if I swear to God, if I was president, I would bring him up on charges, have him tried, found guilty, and I'd fucking hang him by that goddamn turtleneck. I know that's violent, but I would. I can't. That man has caused more damage to this fucking country than Trump could ever wish to do. And yet, why does he keep getting voted in Kentucky? Because he's got these fucking pork barrel, programs that that provide for the people of Kentucky, and they keep voting for his fucking ass because they don't care what else he's doing to destroy this country. As long as he throws them a bone here and there, they're good to go.
But hey, corporate Democrats want to reach across the aisle.
Yeah, yeah, because they see
wanna reach across the aisle because they're buddies.
Yeah,
Of course.
Well,
If I hear politicians say that, they won't never get my vote.
yeah, because
That reach across the aisle bullshit. Come on, man.
the truth is that we see partisanship, this bipartisanship where they say, oh well, they can't work together. Bullshit. They're working together all the time, but it's always to screw us. You think that that you don't think Pelosi and fucking McConnell didn't give two shits whether or not the people had an extension on their unemployment or if they had a stimulus package? They don't give a fuck. They're not hurting. They don't care. The Democrats only act like they do care, and that's all it is.
All you got to do is just look at their education, right? They all went to the same universities. They're all part of the same fraternities and sororities. They're frat brothers.
They are, and here's
that's what it is. Both
They're part of the
sides.
club. They're part of the
Yale,
club.
Princeton, Harvard.
and
same
here's
thing.
what I'm going to tell you. If anything ever happened to Mitch McConnell, and I'm not saying anything should because I don't agree with that. I don't believe in that. But he should be held accountable for what he's done to this country. But if anything were to happen to him, what do you think would happen? What do you think Nancy Pelosi would say at his funeral?
Oh, the nicest shit.
Right, exactly. Why?
Oh,
because
Skeletor
they're
was a good
right,
man.
right.
Yeah.
Because
Said
they're in
Skeletor.
bed together. Because they know that they can't sit there and call them for what they really are. Because if anything happens to her, they have then
They all do that shit.
They do.
George Bush is a hero now.
right, exactly.
What a good fucking president George Bush was. Man, what a super duper guy.
It's
Come
amazing
on,
how
man.
fucking stupid this country is,
It's
how
so
short our
stupid.
memory is. Because the fact that, and again, you probably didn't hear a whole lot about it, but in the gay community there's this big stink because Ellen was up at a game and was buddy with him.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And she was like, well, I believe that, we should be able to, be friends with people who have different ideologies. Like, this isn't about fucking different ideology, you dumbass. This is about the fact that he is a war criminal. Innocent people died because of his lies.
Yeah.
And you want to sit there and downplay it because you want to hobnob with the fucking ex-president. It's like, fuck you. And fuck anybody who thinks that's okay.
I think George was out of the loop on that. I blame Dick Cheney on that one.
No,
because he's just not a smart dude.
No,
George
listen.
Bush was, he could dodge a shoe really quick. That was impressive.
Yeah, that was impressive.
But I kind of agree a little bit on it. He might have been manipulated by Cheney.
If you look at the
story,
his past business endeavors, like owning a baseball team, everything went horrible. He's not.
Yeah, but you got to keep in mind too that every one of these fucking teams, at least since the death of Len Bias, remember him from the Celtics?
Yeah.
Okay, when he died of an overdose, I guarantee you there wasn't an owner out there of a sports team who didn't know what the fuck was going on with every one of their big star players.
Right.
So when Bush sat there and talked about that he didn't know anything about the steroid use that was going on with the Rangers, bull fucking shit. Bull fucking shit. I'm sorry. He's a lying asshole. And the thing is that while I believe that Cheney and others manipulated Bush by, stroking his ego, talking about how he could, finish what his daddy didn't finish or whatever.
I think that's what they did.
But Bush knew that everything he was saying was a lie. He didn't believe that shit for a second because he knew it was a lie. Cheney knew it was a lie. Now, Cheney, having been the president of Halliburton at one point, he had a lot of fucking money to gain from this.
Yeah.
And so
he gave out all the DoD contracts.
Right. Yeah. Well, that was the thing. He knew there were no weapons of mass destruction because Halliburton was the one who did the chemical buildings for them. They knew where everything was because they built the fucking things for them. It's but then on the left, you have people like Pelosi pulling bullshit where back in 2007 when the minimum wage went from like $5.75 to $7.15 or something.
Yeah.
Well, her husband owns it's over like almost $2 million, I think it is. No, it might even be greater than that. I don't want to quote a number because I'm not quite sure. Mm-hmm. He owns a shit ton of stock in StarKist. Well, StarKist hires a lot of their people out of Samoa, and so what is it? The U.S. Samoan territory or whatever.
Yeah.
So Pelosi made it so that Samoa didn't, because StarKist has a lot of employees there, like over 70% of their employees are based in there, where the minimum wage didn't apply there. So those people still got paid $5.75. And there was something else she pulled with that shit too, and I can't remember what it was exactly, but it's all this corrupt bullshit with Biden and Hunter Biden, getting a job where he's getting paid $50,000 a month for fucking not knowing shit. Yeah, it's like the Democrats don't see anything wrong with it. But they'll call out fucking Trump's son or Ivanka or whatever, and then you have the right who will sit there and call Hunter Biden, but won't address the fucking elephant, and I mean fucking huge elephant of his sons and Ivanka, getting paid for shit they have no expertise in. And it's like, you're all hypocrites. If you support this kind of bullshit and you don't call out the bullshit on both sides, you're a hypocrite.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't even think it's ignorance. I just think they are aware of it and they just choose to.
They just choose to ignore it.
It's like a show.
It is.
It's just flip flopping back and forth.
Yeah, but if you're watching a show, like one time I watched Jerry Springer, and I realized that when I watched Jerry Springer, my brain cells were dying, and I quit watching it because I thought I don't.
The same way.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to watch this shit.
This is crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like you got stupid fucking people, and you're making money off of these stupid fucking people who want 15 minutes of fame, and so I quit watching because I knew it wasn't healthy.
So then that goes back on the people, because what they're doing instead is they're just backing away out. They see the problem. Instead of stepping up and voting or making change, they just, I'm not going to deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
And then it's on autopilot, and we get the same issues.
Same story.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
So all right. So here's the thing. I'm going to ask each one of you. All right, because what I want to do with each episode that I have is I want to identify the problems, and I think we've pretty much done that. If there are any other problems, let me know. We'll do that. But it's not enough to just identify the problem. We need solutions, and that's where we need to focus our attention on, because if we focus our attention on just the problem, then the only solution that we're going to be able to have is bitching and complaining. That's it. And I tell people, don't fucking focus on the problem. Identify it. Now, let's find the fucking solution, because otherwise you're just next year you'll be sitting here bitching, complaining about the same goddamn thing because you're still focused on the problem.
Right.
And that's what you see Facebook is.
Right.
People bitching, bitching, bitching. No one offers up any solutions.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the solution as far as, with what we talked about today, with whether starting a third party or starting a party within the party? And this isn't, by the way, I don't think this should be just for Democrats. I think there are a bunch of Republicans out there who feel the same way. Because if we're being honest, I think that the majority of the left and the right are in the center, and we're closer together than we are further apart. But these fucking extremists who try to speak for both sides, they make the most ridiculous statements, and they're also the ones who call it out. So you'll have someone like fucking Tucker Carlson, who's nothing more than a hack, and he'll pull up the most insane fucking person who from the left that will say the most stupid thing that no one on the left believes or wants, and then he'll call them out and say, "Oh, see what the fucking left? They're all fucking crazy."
Yeah.
No, we're not crazy because we don't believe in that shit. Right. And yet we have people on the left who do the same thing. Find the most extreme person on the right and do this and play the same game.
They
and
never
so
pick somebody logical. That
right,
has logical reason.
because one, it's not sensationalized and it doesn't sell.
Right.
And number two, it doesn't. If we were to actually look at it and go, look, the majority of us are closer together than we are further apart, we would quit pointing fingers at one another and we'd start finding fucking solutions.
Right.
That's what we need to do.
Yeah.
So, third party or party within a party, or do you have another solution?
I would say party within a party. I think that's more
easier, yeah.
Easier fight than creating a third party, and that's like a triple fight. We got to try to get to the debate stages. We got to have a lot of money.
I think there's because I've looked into it. There's maybe 30 parties registered in the United States, but you never hear about them.
Right.
So I'd be leaning more towards let's remove the restrictions to allow more people on the debate stage. Just allow more voices to be heard.
Okay. Do you think that's...
I think if we did that, the progressives could then just step away from the Democratic Party because they know that their voice is going to be heard anyway.
Have you ever watched any of these debates? I know you have.
Yes.
Okay, so to me...
The ones where Andrew Yang gets one question or no questions.
Exactly, yeah. So to me, I don't think by adding more that's going to solve the issue, because again, you're going to have those candidates that are considered lesser who get bullshit questions. You get someone like Andrew Yang, and then he's not even asked a legitimate question.
But I mean later on, like that final debate, we're going to have Trump and Biden. Maybe it's probably going to get canceled because
Biden don't want to debate Trump.
But that's
going to be a shit
I think
show.
we need more voices there.
Let's look at it like this: what's going on with the police and all that, right? Let's say there's 100 of us. Good. We want to go to the academy. We want to be policemen. We got good hearts. We want to do the right thing, right? 100 of us. If 100 of us got into the academy, then we became police officers. We can change. We can change within the force. You know what I mean?
Herein lies the challenge with that is that there are a lot of good cops out there. There really are, and the people say, "Well, yeah, exactly." I mean, I had a buddy who just became. He's a young guy. He just went into the sheriff's department, and I did everything I could to talk him out of it. I go, "Dude, this will change you as a person. I'm telling you, because it's not just that you as a police officer, and I think this is important that people understand. As a police officer, you see Mr. and Mrs. Smith walking down the street and you wave to them and you go, "Hey, how's it going?" That police officer remembers last week when Mr. Smith was beating the shit out of Mrs. Smith, and that's what he sees. And it's really hard to separate yourself from what you see when you always see the worst of society, and that on a daily basis. It's really hard to separate that. The other challenge is that you have a culture that's been cultivated for decades, if not over a century, of them against us. So
Right.
you're
Right.
being brainwashed
Yeah.
that those people out there are trying to kill you.
Right.
That's why we see police officers, especially in the last few decades, where it's like it's overkill. It's like it's not
Yeah.
one thing. It's like this last guy who got shot in the back 7 times.
Right.
It wasn't enough. Like even if you can justify shooting him, why 7 fucking times? You're supposed to be trained, and this is the other thing too. When I always hear this argument about, well, if you have a bad guy with a gun, then you should have a good guy with a gun because that's the only person that's going to stop. It's like, look, if you have police officers who are in these situations who can't react properly, how the fuck do you think Joe Schmo citizen over there is going to react? He's going to shoot you and everybody else in there trying to be fucking John Wayne. You know, I don't need some guy who has a hero complex trying to save the day.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So, but the problem is that you have this mentality, and if a good cop goes up and doesn't support these bad cops, they get ostracized.
Damn right.
And I mean, and worse, a lot worse. As we've talked about, I talked about James McClenna's episode. I talked with Jeff Burns' episode. That they're even set up sometimes to where you either leave or you're going to die. Right. That type of situation.
Yeah, I believe it.
And one of the things James McClenna's brought up, which I didn't even know, is that these police unions are powerful, and so a lot of these heads of these sheriffs have said, "Hey, look, I can't do anything about it. I've tried to get rid of these bad cops, but it's the police union." And James McClenna said they signed that. They don't have to sign that agreement, but the sheriffs do, knowing that shit happens, and so they're in cahoots with the
corruption, man.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So
You got to make the pensions touchable. They can't have these untouchable police pensions.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that we need to take immunity off the table.
Yes.
For police officers, for DAs, for judges, for anybody
They're just
who
like
sits
us.
there and pulls it. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, and I've made this point as well. I said, look, if you and if I do something that violates your rights, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to jail.
Fast.
But a cop can sit there and violate your rights, and he doesn't give a fuck because he
Months,
knows there's
years,
no
yeah.
consequences to his actions. All he's going to do is make life miserable for you.
Right.
Because as James McClenna said, you might be able to beat the rat, but you're not going to beat the ride.
Right.
So,
They're protected by the unions too. So
right. And so that shit needs to stop. We need to do something to where we defund the police to the point of getting rid of the military weapons that they have because they become militarized. Mm-hmm. We need to put, I think, that money that we do give them into education. I know in Germany, the Polizei, they go to school for 2 years.
Right.
2 years before they ever graduate.
Right.
We send our guys to fucking 6 months at a
6
junior
months.
college.
Yeah.
And they're not taught anything about the law, obviously.
Right.
They're taught little about self-defense. So
Right.
so imagine Nelson, we talked about this earlier before you got here, Ronnie. For us to handle ourselves out in the public is much like we don't really sweat it because we train with highly trained people who know how to fucking fight. So when you get some clown out in the street, you're not worried. You're like, because these guys they don't know how to fight.
No shit.
So, but what happens is that when you go through 6 months of training and you have a little bit of training in self-defense or things like that, you're scared shitless because you don't know how to handle yourself. No. So, of course, you're going to pull your fucking gun as soon as someone says boo to you because you're afraid that you're going to get your ass beat.
Yeah.
And to me, if you're that scared, you have no business being a fucking police officer.
So maybe we don't defund. We just reallocate.
Reallocate, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say that we can't defund them to some point. They've got too much money in their coffers, too much money. If you can afford military weapons, and you can afford to pay lobbyists to lobby for you up, in your.
That might all be politics too, because the military's sitting on this. It's just junk to them, so they got. They might be in cahoots just to recoup some of the money that they got from some, Humvee just sitting out there.
I think they could sell that to fucking some third world country if they wanted to. I think
they do that. They do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. you're saying, let's,
Okay.
and I agree with, and before Nelson even tells me, I'll tell you that's the step, because I think it takes less energy, less money, and I think it'd be more efficient and faster as well. What about you, Nelson?
As far as what?
As far as finding a solution for a third party,
Oh,
or
the party within the party. I could see both. I think the party within the party should be easier because the people are already there. They're already, but you still need some new blood, though. You know what I mean? Like,
right. But and I think that's the thing. I think that now that we have more progressives winning, we have people out there saying, hey, it's possible now. I can run as a progressive and win. And so if we give them the support, if we donate money to the progressive Democrats and not the Democratic Party,
Right.
but the progressive Democratic Party that's within the Democrats, and they get the money directly, then we can send that money out to progressive and help support them on their cause. And not that that takes the place of them getting out and knocking on doors, but it certainly helps as far as buying campaign.
You got to find a way of getting the people to accept it, though, because they're gonna see, okay, Democrat, Republican, and if they see a third, progressive, they don't know that.
Again, we need to get that
Door to
message out there and go look. And I think people are starting to wake up, especially
Yeah.
because of COVID-19. All of a sudden, you have people who had health care who don't have health care because it was tied to their job, and now they're unemployed. Now they don't have health care. Now you can be evicted. And again, I'm not for socialism. I'm really not. I am a capitalist. But I also believe that with capitalism, we have a responsibility to those who are less fortunate, who can't help themselves.
Right.
But with that said, I say if we give you health care, you need to start taking care of your ass.
Yeah.
If your doctor tells you to start exercising and this is what you eat, then start doing it. Because if you don't deserve health care.
Right.
If you're on welfare and I can provide you a job, or unemployment, and I can provide you a job and go, I know this isn't your ideal job. I know that you don't, you might not like it, that you might have to work out on I-4,
Right.
to help build it, but you're giving back. And there's something about working for your money that gives you a sense of worth and a sense of value that
Right.
getting a free handout will never give you. Viktor Frankl, who wrote the Man's Search for Meaning, which is an amazing book, he was very much against socialism for that very reason. And I am too, just because if you don't have a purpose in life, you have very little worth. And
Right.
and so you just go downhill from there. You look at yourself as somebody who just has nothing to offer.
Right.
And how can you have any pride? How can you have any sort of value if you don't have something to give back?
It's part of your identity.
Yeah.
Right, it is. Absolutely, for everybody. And so I don't believe in socialism to the point where that was one of the things I know that you might disagree with me with Yang, is that I wasn't for UBI, only for the simple reason is because I thought it would be great if there was investment, but what happens is like, let's say that Andrew Yang became president, he enacted UBI, and we all get $1,000 a month. What happens at the next election, and I stand up and go, I'll give you $1,500,
Yeah.
and someone else goes, I'll give you $2,000. Next thing you know, we're
I
voting
think where
on
he
that.
messed up was he didn't have the next step. That's
Right.
only a temporary band-aid.
Right.
Right.
You're not going to be able to just live
Nah,
off of that. He
$1,000.
never.
Yeah.
He never offered, what comes next. You're putting a Band-Aid on a problem that we
Right.
already have. But there was no solution.
I don't
Yeah.
know that it was what band. I mean, what problem do you think there was? Because I thought he was just saying, look, it's sort of like Alaska. Alaska gets subsidized by the oil companies that every.
Well, what he was saying was that with the tech industry taking over the economy, there's going to be a lot of jobs. For the example he would use is like a woman who sells clothes at Sears. Sears is going to go out of business. Everyone's using Amazon. She doesn't have a job now, and she doesn't have a skill, unless she's a computer programmer or a doctor. She needs something to help subsidize so that she can re-educate herself to the modern economy. So he was offering this $1,000, hoping that it would take some of the burden off the family
Yeah.
so that they can, like he was talking about the truckers.
Yeah.
Right.
Trucks becoming automated. They don't need a driver anymore. Or the driver can only be on the road for a certain amount of time. Well, if the truck drives itself, you don't need that guy anymore.
The problem with that is that, and this is where I don't think he took in the human aspect of it, is that reason why people become truck drivers or they work in retail or whatever is because they didn't like studying. Studying wasn't their forte. They didn't like school. It's not to say that they're stupid. It's just saying I don't want to do the school thing. I don't want to go to college for 4 years because I'm not going to become a doctor or a lawyer, which are probably the only two of the only real professions out there that pay for that. You can get your money back after paying all that money into college. And they didn't want to do that, so they found something that they enjoyed and said, I can make a living at this. So, when those jobs disappear, they're not going to jump in and go, hey, let me go back to school because I loved it so much the first time around.
Exactly.
So that's not really a solution. Now, starting your own business, I could see, that may be something that you could put that money towards and start your own business. And I think this is where we need to reform the education system too, as to what we teach our kids. We teach them to be drones. We teach them and it was deliberately set up like that so people would be
They're
employees.
smart enough to run the machines.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So you become dependent on that check every month. Corporations love nothing better, or companies that you work for love nothing better when you get married and you get a mortgage and a car payment, because now they know you're fucking tied to this job because you need this job to pay for that. And if you don't stick with us, you're going to lose it. So so even through the shittiest of conditions, you'll stick to it because you're tied to it now because you have responsibilities.
Exactly.
Yep.
We'll fix all the world's problems today. Well, I don't even know how long we've been doing this, but it's been
almost 2 hours.
Has it been? Well, I'm going to tell you, this is, I've been wanting to do this for a long time with you guys. This is the kind of podcast I always want to achieve, that I strive to have, because this is what we did today is considered a conversation.
Yeah. Right.
And that way we all get to talk. We all get and it's so much more fun, and it's organic, and it's just off the cuff, and there's and I think that's much more.
It's real.
Right, it's real, and I think people appreciate that more than me sitting down interviewing somebody and just getting rote answers that that they give to everybody else that they do a podcast with or interview with or whatever. So I really appreciate you guys being here today, and
Thank you.
I'd love to have you back again. I'd like Joe Rogan.
We've got a lot of. We're
Shit
kind
to
of
talk
versatile. Yeah, we're kind of
Yeah,
versatile.
but I think that's why I really want to have you guys here. I have one other guy too, younger guy. He's in his probably mid-20s now. Bright kid. This kid put himself through college, paid for his college, paid for his own new Mustang. He had like 3 or 4 jobs at one time, going to school. Yeah, this kid's phenomenal. And I say kid because he's in his 20s.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But and so I don't always agree with his viewpoint, but he always comes from a position of he's thought about it. You can tell that this isn't just something that he heard from someone and just regurgitated because it sounded good and the masses said it. Right. He really thinks about his positions. And so that's what I want, are people who are willing to look at things from a different perspective.
Yeah.
And I know you guys are.
Kind of do it on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. You have to, you have to look at things from a different perspective and challenge your beliefs and challenge your perceptions, because if you don't, then you haven't had any growth. And and since if I still thought the way I did when I was in my 20s or 30s, I'd still be a dumbass. Now it could be argued I still am, but at least I'm a little bit smarter dumbass.
But
Educated dumbass.
Right, exactly.
But that is the problem in politics too, because let's say I'm a Democrat and I'm running on these views, and then a few years later I change. Well, now I'm a flip-flopper. It's
right.
Political suicide.
Right.
People grow,
right.
they evolve, you learn, you get new information.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to do that in politics.
Not anymore.
You know why? The Republicans started that shit, and the Democrats finally caught on, because the Republicans would never admit that they were wrong about anything. Bush Bush would do that. Bush would sit there and never admit wrongdoing, you know. And you're absolutely right. And then if you change your mind, like you said, you're a flip-flopper.
Yeah.
How about this? How about that I grew? How about I became enlightened? I understood that I was on the wrong side, and now I see the error of my ways.
Yeah.
But see, the other side won't admit that they have any error of their ways.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right. That causes a whole. But we need to stop.
Do that, yeah.
We need to stop pretending like that's strength. That when you don't, my father was like that. And I never had respect for him the way I could have had he had ever admitted that he made a mistake. He would never admit he made a mistake. Right. Yes, and because he was very insecure. The only people who will not admit that they make mistakes are people who are insecure and are afraid that they're going to be ridiculed for it. And it's like, if you know yourself and you know who you are, fuck what other people say. Right. So yeah, I agree. That is an issue, and we just need to stop. We need to stop, giving these people the credit that they've been getting, and go, you're just a bullshitter.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't make any mistakes, not that I believe in him, but you would be Jesus Christ, and I don't think he's back yet. From what the Christians have been telling me, he's not here yet. So I don't know. Not to shit on Christians. I'm just saying.
That can go. That's go deep.
Well,
that's another 3 hours.
Yeah, that is.
That's a different podcast.
Yes, it is. So, but I would love to have you guys back on as regular, because, like I was going to say, Joe Rogan has Joey Diaz, and he has
Duncan Trussell.
I love it. I don't have the
high
who's going to be Brendan Schwab?
We'll just leave him.
Yeah. So all right, well, we need to get a Joey Diaz in here and a couple others, but those are some of the best podcasts he has, because they're just shooting the shit and they're talking. I mean, they're just being real, and they're having fun doing it, and that's to me is what it's about.
For that. I think that's the thing why we click. We're all open-minded. We're like, I don't have to believe you, but I'll listen.
Yeah.
Right, exactly, and that's.
I'm not gonna get pissed off and delete you on Facebook. And,
right? Yeah, because we know. Shit. Because here's the thing: we're secure in our friendship, and we know that we're friends. And fuck the rest of the stuff. It's like we don't have to agree, so we don't have to take everything personal, and we don't. And
respect, I usually tell people, unless you've punched me in the face, I don't trust you.
Yeah.
Nah, man, it's all about respect. You know what I mean? If you're a Trump supporter. Chai is a Trump supporter. I'm not going to delete him off my Facebook.
No, I haven't.
Shit he got to say. But he's a cool dude.
No, and that's how I know him.
You know what I mean?
I just think he's full of shit, but I would never delete him because deep down inside, I truly believe he's a good person.
Well, if you were to see each other on the street, you would, hey, what's
up?
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
High five, hugs, you know what I'm saying? That's it, but... You're not gonna walk past them. Hey, you're a fucking Trump supporter.
Yeah.
Now,
you.
I will tell you this.
Red hat,
Chai's never done that. Like, I've said some shit to him, and he's handled it. Like, he's
never.
I
know. I read it.
Yeah. But there's another one that used to come to JKD with us, and I can't remember his name. But he's a friend. Yeah. Okay. He gets so pissed off, but I'm like, dude. And I called him out on his shit, and he got pissed. And
he's a little bit of.
Yeah, because again, he takes it because he's insecure in his position. He can't be, you can't show him the error of his ways because he doesn't believe that's what a man does. And so he unfriended me, and I'm like, well, that's on you, brother.
That's whack, man.
Before you post anything on Facebook, fact check it.
Right. No, but
I agree with that. I mean, I've been through stupid shit like that.
People just share. Oh yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
They share it, and it's nonsense.
I have a problem with that too. Sometimes I share something and it's fucking lie and shit. I started paying attention though.
Yeah.
I started paying more.
Have you noticed though? I've noticed there's 3 or 4 people, and I have probably close to 5,000 friends. The only reason I don't have 5,000 is because I keep deleting people, or I piss them off and they delete me or whatever. But I don't know these people, and I do it because obviously I want people to listen to my podcast. So I accept all these fucking friend requests, and I get a lot of these people who they're so close-minded, and then as soon as I call them out and they're bullshit, they unfriend me. The thing is, I noticed that there's some on my Facebook now that they make posts that contradicts their last post. They're out there stirring shit, and I go, dude, I don't know if you're a fucking Russian bot, whatever the fuck, or just an asshole. But I
Yeah.
go, but what is the sense in trying to cause more division? You're not.
troll.
You're all you're
Troll.
doing is looking for attention that your parents didn't give you,
Right.
and you're an attention whore. You know, that's the only thing I can think of, because otherwise you don't believe in either one of these stances. You're just posting shit to trying to rile people up. And I
Right,
go,
right.
and we need less of that.
Right,
Of
we
course,
do.
they don't ever want to answer you, you know, because again, they know I'm right, and
Yeah.
they don't have any position.
I think it's okay when people post bullshit. Just to let it go, man. Don't even get on there and try to correct.
Well, see, and all right, so here's what I got to say about that. You know, I made a statement a long time ago that whenever you see a lie, you need to call that bullshit out, because if you don't, it will continue.
Yeah, I
and
believe it.
unfortunately, to someone who's uneducated, let me rephrase that. Someone who isn't up on that particular topic will go, "Oh, that sounds good," and buy into that bullshit. And if you don't call it out, they may fall for it. And there are a lot of people, because like you guys just said, you know, someone will post something and you'll go, and then you'll repost it, and you never fact check that shit, because
yeah.
people believe, oh, well, if Nelson put it on there, it must be real, you know?
all
It's
cool.
happened to me before. When my mom got cancer, you know, we were going through some stuff, and I found some shit. Like, you know, cancer can be beat by, I don't know, eating fucking fingernails or something.
Jeez.
Right? And then the first person that got on there was Tim. Because Tim had cancer
Yeah.
before.
Right.
So Tim was like, hey, that's not true. It's this, you know, he kind of
Yeah.
started me to
Tim,
think about
yes.
what I was posting, because he does his research.
He does, and
He
you can't say anything about Tim about his research, because he does.
will research.
He
He
won't.
will.
I will say he's the most stubborn man to ever admit he's wrong, and I think it's because he does do so much research. So he, you know, it's really hard. In fact, in all the years I've known him and I've beaten him in arguments, he might concede, but I don't think he's ever completely go, okay, I was wrong. You know, like he still hangs on to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
he's
It's a good quality to have.
yeah, I mean, because again, you shouldn't give up on your position that easily. You
Yeah.
should fight it to make sure that, you know, that it doesn't hold water anymore.
Right,
Don't
right.
just give in because somebody said something and it
Right.
becomes popular, and you go, oh, well, that's becoming popular.
Right.
Let me go that direction now.
Right.
So yeah, you should fight it tooth and nail until you realize, okay, I might have been mistaken. Now I think Tim probably does that. He just does it quietly, and so he'll just change his position without anyone
Right.
knowing. So he's not going to come out and go, "Oh, you're right." You
Yeah.
know, I've seen that when I showed him, you know, moves in grappling, and go, "Oh, this is easier," and then he'd like. You could see
Yeah.
he knew I was right, but he goes, "Well, you should do it this way because."
Yeah, man.
So, yeah, but Tim's a great guy. He really is, and I have a great deal of respect for him. And you know, and again, it is about respect.
It's all
And
about respect, man.
and
That's all.
this isn't like a Jerry Springer episode where you
Yeah.
get people to beat up on, and then you just go, "Be kind to one another." It's
Yeah.
like, bitch, you just had people on your show beating the shit out of each other. Now you're
Yeah.
gonna tell everyone to be kind to each other
Yeah.
when your whole show is about beating the fuck out of
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, man, it's serious, but not that serious. To lose friendship and stuff like that, because I've had 2 people pass away within 3-4 weeks already. One day you're here, and next day you're gone. The fuck
Well-
you gonna be remembered for? The asshole deleting people on Facebook and
Right.
arguing with everybody, trolling everybody. You
Well,
know?
I have a new episode coming out tomorrow, and it's called "To Wear a Face Mask or Not to Wear a Face Mask." That is the question. And in that, I said, look, one day we're all going to die,
Yeah.
and some of us are going to be remembered for our kindness, and some of us are going to be remembered for being an asshole.
Right.
Which one are you? And I think that's what it comes down to. So you're absolutely right. Are we going to be that asshole on Facebook where everybody goes, "Oh, he died"? Let's have a drink.
Yeah. I'm glad. Shit.
Exactly.
Good riddance.
Or are people going to actually be sad because they
Yeah.
go, "That was a good
That was a
person
good
right
person.
there"?
Yeah.
So, anything else to add?
I think we're good.
Good. All right. Well, we're going to do this again. So
Yeah.
I know
We'll
you
come
two.
up with a new topic. And
Yeah. Oh, we could. Yeah, we could talk about religion. And we could talk about Black Lives Matter. We can
I'm
talk more
open.
about the cops. We could talk about white privilege, white fragility. There's so much shit out there to talk about that we'll never. I don't think we'll ever run out of topics. We can just go on Facebook and just laugh our asses off at the posts on Facebook. So,
Right.
I mean, seriously, I want to do that one day where we're sitting here. we're looking at Facebook and someone posts and I'll read it and then we can comment on it. I think that's a fucking great
reaction.
episode.
It's
Yes,
like
a reaction to a Facebook
Yeah,
post.
take a picture of it.
Yeah,
talk about
that
it.
sounds like a good
I see
idea.
a lot of crazy shit, but yeah, it's a good idea.
Well, good. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming
Thank
today, and we'll do this again. And folks, thanks for watching, for listening, and until next time, take care.
The Powers Project.